Okay, we have been working on fractions as division. So we know that when we see the fraction bar, it also means that it's a division problem. The 21 in our numerator is our dividend, and 5 in our denominator is our divisor. So if I ask you to write 21/5 as a mixed number, you can think of it as doing 21 divided by 5. So you can figure out how many times does 5 go into 21. And remember, your remainder will go in your numerator. Or we can look at a picture. I have 21/5 here on the screen. There's 10 and 10 for 20, and then the 1 here. So if I am trying to put them in groups of 5, I can move them and go there's a group of 5. Here's a group of 5. There's 2 holes. They're a little tricky to put them together. There's 3 holes. 4 holes with a 5th remaining. And if you did 5 goes into 21 4 whole times with the remainder of 1 if you did a division. But this is just a way to look at it with fraction circle pieces. So that's what we're doing today, is renaming mixed numbers and improper fractions using pictures. I know a lot of us are really good at doing it with division, but now I want you to use pictures because sometimes pictures help us see the problem and understand the problem a little bit better. Oops. Get to the next page. So I would like to know, is 1 16/5 another name for 21/5? Well, if I go back to this page, is that another name? Well, let's break this one up. And break this one up. And break this one up. What do I have now? I have 1 whole, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16/5. So that is another way to write 21/5. Can we think of another name for 3 2/3? So instead of using fraction circles, I'm going to draw them. So I have 3, and then I have 2/3. And you know that should be even. It's a little hard to draw with your mouse. So can I think of another name for 3 2/3? Well, can I take this whole and split it into thirds? So now I have, let's shade in, I only have 2/3 of that. And I have 3/3 of this. So I could say 2 5/3 would be another name. Could I trade another whole in for 3/3? Well, let's try it. So now I have 3, 6, 7, 8. So I have 1 whole with 8/3. Can we come up with the other name? Now this is a name that most of you would probably come up with right away using our trick that we learned a couple days ago. Let's break this last whole into thirds. So now I have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 thirds. And that's probably the one that most of you could give to me right away without the picture, because you would do 3 times 3. So your whole number times your denominator, because I really have 3 groups of 3. And then I had to add on the 2 extra pieces that I had to give me 11 thirds. Which is okay if you know that shortcut, 3 times 3 plus 2. But I also want you to be able to draw the picture and come up with these other names in the middle. Without the picture, we wouldn't have been able to come up with those. Let's try another one. What about another name to find 2 and 7/4? So I'm going to draw 2 holes. So I have those. I'm going to shade them in first this time. You know, my shading's a little bit shady. I thought it was funny. 2 and 7/4 this time. So there's 4/4, but we need 7, so I got to break up another one. And 7/4. Well, there's a couple different ways to come up with different names for this one. Oops. Let's change the color. So I could, like last time, trade my whole for 4/4. So I'm going to trade this whole for 4 pieces. So now a name could be 1, because I have 1 whole. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fourths. So another name for 2 and 7/4 would be a 1 and 11/4. Well, I can also trade my last whole, which is probably the way that you guys would use the quick way, by doing 2 times 4 plus 7 to get your new numerator. But looking at pictures, let's see why it makes sense. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fourths. Tricky to do a 5. But that's not all the names, because 2 and 7/4, that's already improper. So if I had 2 and 7/4, let's draw that again. So I have 2, those are filled in. And 7/4. So I'm drawing what I have to start. Those, I have all of those pieces. And I would fill them in neater if it was easier to do on the Chromebook. Again, I have 2 and 7/4. Now up here, when I first did it, I traded 1 whole for 4 pieces. And then I traded another whole for 4 pieces. Well, this time, what if I take and trade the other way? What if I trade 4 pieces for 1 whole? What if I no longer call this 4 pieces, but I call it 1 whole? Can you come up with a different name? Because now how many holes do I have? I have 1, 2, 3 holes. So 3 holes and 3/4. So you can trade